Hello friends, this is Maria. On Quinta Maria, I enjoy homemaking, cooking, baking, gardening, and crafts. If you're interested, please hang out with me today. So today we make a traditional Egyptian pastry that is made with a beautifully soft and buttery dough. The smell of this pastry is so divine. We start by making the dough because we will let it rest until we make the filling. As you can see here, we're going to need 1 kilogram of all-purpose flour, 1.5 cup of warm milk, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, if it stays in place, 2 sticks of butter, 1 tablespoon of yeast, 2 tablespoons of sugar, 2 tablespoons of sesame seeds, and 2 tablespoons of fennel. The sesame seed, I'm just using leftovers that I had, not the exact quantity that I will need. We start by warming the milk because we will mix the yeast and sugar in the milk. I know that my yeast works. If you're not sure, you can test it in a cup of warm water instead of the milk. We may need a cup of water anyway. Mix it well and put it aside so we can work with the dry ingredients. First thing, we need to sift the flour. This is very important to ensure that the flour is smooth and there are no clumps or unwanted particles before we start making the dough. When we finish sifting the flour, we're going to work with the dry ingredients: 1 teaspoon of baking powder, a pinch of salt, just this amount, it only enhances the flavor, and 3 tablespoons of dry milk. Add it to the flour, the baking powder, and the salt. Then we're going to add the sesame and the fennel. The fennel is optional, and because the whole seeds may not be very pleasant to some people, I will have to grind them. I will just make a coarse grind. This is my coffee grinder, so I decided to use it, but you have to clean it very well so the smell of coffee doesn't mix with what you're making. Mix these dry ingredients and set them aside until we prepare the butter and oil. I cut the butter into small pieces to help it melt quickly. Before it gets too hot, we're gonna put the butter in a saucepan and melt it. And we're going to add the oil to the warming butter, just half a cup of oil. It's important to make sure that the fat is only warm, not hot. In the stand mixer, add the dry ingredients to the bowl and mix them together just to make sure that the baking powder, the salt, the aromatic fennel, and sesame are all mixed with the flour. Then gradually we will add the warm mix of butter and oil. We will not be kneading this dough. We are simply mixing the fat with the flour to make sure that the flour is well moistened. Now we're going to add the yeast, sugar, and milk mix to start forming our dough. See how the consistency of this dough is changing? It's becoming easier to shape. I will cover the bowl with plastic wrap and let it rest. While the dough is resting, I will prepare the filling. This is totally optional. If you do not want to use it, no problem, but I really like it. My kids don't though. In a hot pan, I melt a couple of spoons of butter. To the melted butter, I add 13 ounces of baking date. This is the date paste, if you like to call it that. The purpose of heating the date with the butter is that this paste is usually kept in the refrigerator and won't be easily shaped. See how hard it is to work with it? Yeah, it took some time to get it to cooperate. And now it's ready. Let's cover our baking sheets with parchment paper. Bring the dough. See how it increased in size? We will put the dates in a bowl next to us on the counter and spread a piece of the dough between two pieces of parchment. The parchment kept sliding on the counter. I should have used only one piece on top of the dough and just spread the dough on the counter directly. As you can see, we're not trying to make circles or anything. We're just spreading the dough so we can put the filling inside and fold the dough around it. So try to make the dough a little thin because it will puff up in the oven because of the baking powder that it has. If you're going to make it without any filling, you can make it a little thicker though. Now I'm just improvising. You can make rectangles, trapezoids, circles, or any shape you prefer. The only tip here is not to mix shapes in the same baking sheet, because then if some are ready before others, you will end up with burnt cookies. But you can make any shapes that you like. You can even use the cookie cutters and have the children help with the process and make their own preferred cookies. Instead of fennel, you can also use anise. I hope I'm saying this correctly, and or any other aromatic herb or spice. Why don't you think about other alternatives and let me know in the comments? Maybe we will come up with a new addition to this traditional pastry. Here I am making some cookies without filling. I'm going to call it cookies because I don't know what else I can call it. So again, let me know if there's a special name for these pastries in English. As I said before, my kids don't like dates. I wish I could find baking figs or something else that they would prefer. You can also use fresh cheese or cheese and mint for filling if you like. I will probably do that next time, but I totally forgot this time. I will also make some round ones with date filling. I ended up sending some of these as Christmas gifts. I'm so happy that they survived the mail and survived the shaking in the mailing boxes, but everybody said that they were amazing. This baking sheet took about 10 to 12 minutes in a 360 Fahrenheit oven at the moment of truth. I think they stayed a little too long. Just keep an eye on them because ovens are different. Mine runs a little warmer sometimes. I hope you try them. You will enjoy these pastries with your morning tea or coffee. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I will pop another video here for you to watch until we meet again. Peace and love to all of you.